My name is Sue Bergstrom, and I am the president of HR Connection. I own a business here in the Minneapolis area.
So what does HR Connection mean?
We work with HR professionals, so we facilitate small groups of HR leaders to help them learn and share best practices with each other, and then we also place HR executives inside companies.
I now get it. I'm so stuck in the vaccine world that I thought that there was some kind of new group.
Yeah, nothing to do with
So
vaccine.
I get it, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, sugar, sorry. Okay, here we go. So let's hear your story. Go back to when this happened.
Yeah, my story started in 2012, and it originally actually started at the beginning of 2012. I had my knee replaced, and so after I had my knee replaced, I was on pain meds for a while, so I was also taking pretty high doses of Tylenol to manage the pain, but I was in a hurry to get on with my life because I was planning a trip to go to Kenya in March, and so the doctors had recommended that I get 12 travel vaccines before I go to Kenya.
Do you know what those 12 were?
I have the list at home, but I do remember that the MMR and the DTaP were two of them because those two were especially problematic for me in the end. I learned long after the fact, but what I remember is not feeling very healthy when I got the vaccines because I was still recovering from my surgery and my body didn't feel strong.
Sorry, can I just stop you? So basically, you just had surgery. Mm-hmm. How long after surgery did you have all the 12 vaccines in one day?
I did not. They started them a month after my surgery, and then I had spread out over a month. I had 3 different times where I got 4 vaccines each of the 3 times in 4 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, and I kept questioning it even. On one hand, I had my intuition and some people telling me they didn't think it was a good idea. And then I had doctors in my circle of friends who said, don't even think about going to Kenya without getting these vaccines. And so I was torn about it. And so I questioned my family doctor about it several times, actually, because I was nervous about it. But I went ahead, I decided to go ahead and get them. And I got my first 4 vaccines, and I was fine. And then maybe a week and a half later, I got another 4 vaccines, and I was still fine. And then a few weeks later, I got my final round of 4 vaccines, and then I was no longer fine. And I started to get very sick. I got a high fever, and I actually had all the symptoms of diphtheria. Very high fever, very sick, and then I started to get ringing in my ears, and and this continued on, and within a month, I started to get severe vertigo, and so there was one day I went to stand up and I couldn't even walk, and the whole room was moving and spinning. And luckily my husband was with me, and he took me to the hospital, to the emergency room. So I started to have this severe vertigo, and
I'm really sorry. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We will make this story wonderful, though. We have great editors.
Okay, so I started to have severe vertigo, and I'm a very optimistic person because I've never really been very sick in my life, and I was a business owner, and
Can you believe the minute you start talking, out he comes again? I can't
maybe
even.
I was supposed to think about my story more.
I'm so sorry. This is happening. It's just...
It's a Minnesota drone
I
fly.
probably brought it with me
That's what we
because
keep saying.
I've kind of been having this kind of day all day today. I was driving on 169 today, and all of a sudden in the road there were like 100 stuffed animals in the road. And people were swerving around the stuffed animals. I thought, this is going to be on the news tonight because this is hilarious.
There it is.
Where?
Behind her head.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna close my eyes. Just kill it.
I'm closing.
Land.
Brian.
Apparently you can
It's
understand
so-
English.
There
It's
he is.
there.
He's
He's
like almost
so.
wet in my mouth.
This fly is the cleverest
He's right
fly.
there. He's right there.
Don't use language like that on
What did I
your
say?
live.
What did I say?
I'm not going to say it because it's right above your head. There it is. It's so fast, this fly. It's literally the cleverest.
He wants out.
We have,
Where
the
is it?
last time we just
He was
opened the
right by
door for a bit,
minute ago.
we thought it had gone and it had
he by
never
the door?
gone.
No.
No?
It's over.
He was. He said, yeah.
Oh my god, are you kidding me?
Alright, so should we just carry on while you're trying to catch the fly? How about that?
I'll keep my
All right,
mouth
let me-
tightly
let me-
closed.
I can't. I'm talking.
Okay. I'll protect
That
you.
fly
If it
goes in
comes
my mouth.
anywhere
I'll
near
keep
you,
you
we just
safe.
do it. It
I'll
is
keep
a
you safe.
really annoying fly. It thinks it's human.
Yes.
We'll just edit it out. We'll keep it real.
So, I'm a really optimistic person, and I haven't been sick very much in my life at all. You know, I'm very athletic, and I was used to biking 100 miles a week, and I ran a business, and I was traveling overseas and traveling for work, and so I was pretty convinced that I was going to be well in a couple of days.
When you were due to fly to Kenya.
This was now after I had returned from Kenya.
And-
So I still went to Kenya.
So you went, and how did you feel over
But
there?
I was sick the whole time
whole
I was
time,
there. I was
yeah.
like deathly sick the whole time.
And I'm
I was
pretty sure
in
you had the
Kenya.
flu vaccine as well, because my friend just went to Kenya, and that was one of the things they were
I
adamant.
had the flu vaccine. Actually, that was in addition to the 12 travel vaccines that
Yeah.
I got. So,
Great stuff.
yes.
Not.
and then
Brian, it's way over here with us. You're
Mom,
way
is it
off.
really? Hold still.
You're way
Everybody
off
hold
base.
still.
Do not hit my new friend. I can't believe this is happening. Kelly Finch is going to absolutely freak out trying to edit this with the fly and everything else.
It was right by you. It was just like
Here's the
right by
thing:
your
when she
neck.
sat down, this lovely lady sat down.
oh,
she
there
was-
it landed. Oh,
Don't break your
if she said, "I'm worried, I'm going to cry," and no chance of that whatsoever.
There it is. Okay, I'm a jerk.
Is it near me?
No, it's on the mic.
Oh, how convenient
Just
for
smash.
him.
It is on the mic.
Yeah,
It's
smash
sitting
it.
on the
Seriously?
mic.
it is a spot.
It is sitting right on the mic. Go. Did you kill it?
Did I break the
Oh.
camera?
I don't know. Anyway, on we go. Okay, we have no idea. Hopefully Josh is not
I don't
watching.
have
All's
any
good.
idea what I was saying.
And I really hope
You were
they're not
in Kenya, and
editing
you were
this.
Yes,
not
I
feeling
was
well.
sick.
Awesome.
Okay, so I was sick the whole time I was in Kenya. I continued to be sick when I got back. And then the vertigo started and the ringing in my ears. And so doctors started checking me for a brain tumor or a brain aneurysm. I started to get MRIs and MRAs and CAT scans. And this journey went on for months and months while my vertigo was so severe I could no longer drive. I couldn't go to work. I could hardly get out of bed in the morning. I kept telling people that I felt like I had been poisoned. Like I didn't know what it would feel like to be poisoned, but I was sure that this is what it would feel like to be poisoned. And it affected my sensory nerves so much that I couldn't hardly stand even the sound of my husband setting the coffee cup down on the counter. And my brain was so sensitive that my husband couldn't sleep in the same bed as me because just the movement of him rolling over was too much for my head to handle. And I was pretty sure I was going to die. I didn't know what was wrong with me, but I thought I was dying. I actually just started to get my things in order. I showed my husband where everything was for the life insurance.
Can I just ask you,
And-
when you thought you were going to die and you thought you'd been poisoned, what did the doctors say? That you must have been saying to the doctors, I'm really sick. Did you at any point know that it was a vaccine? Think that it was?
There were many times that I suspected the vaccines, but whenever I would bring that up to a doctor, they would ignore it.
Just
They-
say, what would they say?
They would say, I don't think it would be that. So no one took that into consideration at all. I was completely completely ignored. And this went on for about 9 months where I couldn't work. I was losing weight. I couldn't hold food down. I was losing so much weight. My clothes were like falling off my body. And I had severe migraines every day. And finally, after all this time, I got in to see a specialist who is more of an integrative medicine specialist, and their focus is on toxicology and basically finding what toxins are in your body. It's called field control therapy, and so what they did is they first tested me to see what organs in my body were most stressed, and then what toxins were stressing them. And for me, it immediately came out that it was my brain, and that it was all the vaccines. And so they started detoxing me of the vaccines, and overnight I started to get better. So for 9 months, I've been getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And as soon as I started to be detoxed of the vaccines, I started to improve. That was 3.5 years ago, and the detox process took about a year, and I'm still not back to being what I used to be. I still get headaches pretty much every day, but my vertigo has improved. I'm still extremely light sensitive and motion sensitive, so I'm still much more sensory than I used to be, but my life has finally returned to some sense of normality. I'm working again, I'm running my business again, I have a social life again. But all of that stopped for me for years because of this. And ironically, my husband and I just recently decided to adopt a 16-year-old boy from Colombia. And I returned from Colombia on Sunday, and my husband and now son are coming home the day after tomorrow. And the last thing on the list was that the U.S. Embassy required our new son to have 6 vaccines before they would allow him entry into the United States. And I explained to the doctor that I had been vaccine injured and that I didn't want him to have these vaccines. And he accepted an exemption form from me.
Wow.
But the U.S. Embassy overturned it. And they said they would have accepted it had he been 10 years or younger, but they wouldn't accept it because he was 16. And they even required him to get a flu shot in order to just enter the United States.
Now, what about religious exemption?
They wouldn't take it.
Because we fought like crazy coming into this country, and they wouldn't take it. And we fought and fought and fought and fought, and eventually we got it.
Okay.
Let me talk to you after this about some of the ways that we got that. I just don't.
Now, did he already have them?
So he did have
Oh
them
no, he
2
had
days
them.
ago.
Okay, whatever.
But the good news was the country of Colombia did not even have the MMR vaccine or the DTaP vaccine, which were the 2 vaccines that they found were most harmful to me. So we were relieved anyway that he only had 4 vaccines instead of 6. We're still actually waiting for the U.S. Embassy to issue the visa tomorrow, but we're hoping they let him in with 4 vaccines instead of 6. So, but we felt very strong-armed into...
Do you know which 4 he's having, they're asking?
It was chickenpox, hepatitis B, the flu shot, and the meningococcal meningitis.
Man, I can't bear it.
Yeah.
Now, how did you detox? What's the name of the person who helped you? People want to know.
Her name is Heidi Helgeson, and she has a practice in Stillwater, Minnesota called Balanced Health Solutions. She actually has a medical background and a homeopathic background combined, and so it's a very balanced approach, which I really like and respect. But the work that she's doing is
Can you spell the last
amazing.
name of?
Helgeson is Helgeson. Did I spell that right?
Everybody's really, really pleased that you're doing so well and that you've come out of that real, you thought that you were going to die, and I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Thank you.
Would you ever take another vaccine again?
No,
Never.
never.
Done.
Yeah, I will never take another vaccine. I would have to be unconscious and have it injected in me without my knowledge in order for me to have another vaccine.